In a previous video, I talked about the free folk and gave a general overview of them, but this video I wanted to focus on the Thens.
Thens. I fucking hate Thens.
Thens, a proud and brave people that consider themselves the last of the first men, are the free folk that lived in the little land of Then, a high mountain valley hidden amongst the northernmost peaks of the Frostfangs. The Thens were surrounded by other tribes of free folk, specifically the cave dwellers, cannibal clans, and hornfoot men. They even lived close to giants, and for thousands of years, they tended to deal more with them than other free folk. Most Thens would only speak the Old Tongue, but they usually knew a few common tongue words as well. Thens, despite being free folk, differ from the rest of them in many ways. Thens are barbaric fighters just like other free folk, but they are more disciplined and better equipped. It is typical to see Thens equipped in bronze armor they make from the tin and copper they mine. When seeing the Thens in battle, people will note their half-helms, shields of black boiled leather with bronze rims and bosses and no images, thin bronze discs sewn to their long leather shirts, and bronze axes, though a few will be wielding chipped stone weapons including chip-stoned axes, and others with short stabbing spears with leaf-shaped heads. In fact, the Magnar Styre, their leader until he dies during the Battle of Castle Black, wielded a long weirwood spear with an ornate bronze head. In general, the Thens' equipment is a huge deal because most wildlings simply find, steal, or take their armor and weapons. They don't make it. The Thens do not follow this practice, they actually make their own equipment. There are few smiths beyond the wall, and most of them are located in Then. Their discipline is another huge difference between the Thens and the rest of the free folk clans. Most wildlings bow to no one. Anyone that forces them to kneel will eventually see them rise up with pointy objects in their hands against that person. Some non-pointy objects too. While some free folk are more tolerant of being led than others, which is expected with the hundreds of different tribes, the Thens are the most tolerant and accepting. They will kneel. They are controlled with absolute obedience by their Magnar, and they treat their leader as a god. They also have lords and laws in their valley, a huge difference than most free folk, which gives them a reputation for being more sophisticated and having more in common with those below the wall. Because they follow their Magnar with blind obedience, they are more disciplined than the average wildling in battle, and will listen to him when fighting. Jon Snow notes that the Watch beats the wildlings because they lack fighting discipline, except with the Thens. So now I want to go over the history of the Thens in the books. In the books, their Magnar of Then was Stur, a tall, lean man that had a shaved head, straight nose, gray eyes, and no ears. He was attempting or making noise about being a king beyond the wall, but Mance Rayder was able to convince the Magnar to follow him as the next king beyond the wall after besting him 3 times, which was good because if he hadn't, Mance would have been forced to slay him. Later, when Mance sends some wildlings over the wall to take the Watch unawares, 100 Thens climb the wall with Jon Snow and attack Grey Guard. They then attack Castle Black from the south, but are beat back by the Night's Watch. Unfortunately, their Magnar dies in this battle. After the Magnar dies, his son, Sigorn, takes over and leads 200 Thens. This is an important event because most of the time, wildlings don't pass leadership through blood. Sigorn is described as a younger, shorter version of his father, lean with a receding hairline that makes him look older than his years, clad in a shirt sewn with bronze scales. He is taken captive by Stannis the Manus after Stannis helps the Watch defeat Mance's army. Shortly after Mance's army is defeated, a warrior tells the survivors to go to the Valley of the Thens to seek refuge. Hundreds follow him to that location. Later, in a dance with dragons, Jon arranges a marriage between Alice Karstark, who has fled to the wall for protection from her uncle and cousin, and the new Magnar. At his own wedding, the Magnar wears fur, leather, bronze scales, and a bronze sword at his hip, making him look ready for battle. And he looks more frightened of Alice than she is of him, which is too cute. At the wedding feast, his bride makes him dance, and it is clear he's never danced before, which might say a lot about the Then culture, but he was drunk enough that it didn't matter. He's also a total sweetheart with his new wife. It's just all so adorable. So they marry at the wall and form House Then with a coat of arms featuring a bronze disc to honor the Thens and red flames for R'hllor. The sigil also looks similar to House Karstark, and what's important about this is that Alis Karstark is the current heir of her brother. So if Alice's brother dies without producing an heir, House Then, and therefore the Magnar, will be the new Lord of Karhold, which, let's see how Northerners take a wildling holding one of their castles. Yikes. So those are the Thens. I absolutely had to do a video about them. I knew this even a month or two ago. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video and come back for more theory and history videos.